Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to cover the practice for the math test topic 14 time. You're going to need probably at least 2 sheets of notebook paper. Go ahead and get it titled. It's going to be really important that you number your problems as we work. Give yourself plenty of space so that when you use this for your test to look back at the skills and how to solve that type of problem, you'll be able to find it easily. So let's get started. Number 1 says the time now is 2:10. What time will it be in 1 hour and 45 minutes? Well, one of the strategies that we've talked about is the T-chart. I'm going to start with that strategy. So I would start my T-chart with the time that is at the beginning, draw my line, and then it's telling me that I'm going to have 1 hour and 45 minutes. What I don't know is the ending time. That's the part I'm solving for. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 2:10 and I'm going to add the 1 hour. So 1 hour add to 2:10 would make it 3:10. Now the next part I know I've got to add is 45 minutes. Now I can do this in one big lump sum if I can figure that in my head quickly, or I could break it apart. I like to break it apart so that I can make sure I don't make a careless mistake. So I know that 3:30 is a good number to be able to look at. I can visualize it on the clock, and 3:30 from 3:10 from 3:30 would be 20 minutes. And I still have 25 minutes to add to my time. So if I add 25 minutes, I would know that that's going to be 3:55 because 30 plus 25 is 55. So my time would be 3:55, remembering that at 60 minutes, that would begin a new hour. So 3:55 is where I end. I'm going to go ahead and put my 25 minutes here. Now, to make sure that I've added everything correctly, I'm going to come over here and I see I've got my 1 hour and 20 plus 25 is 45 minutes. So I have indeed satisfied the requirements, and I know that my end time is 3:55. That would be my answer, 3:55. Now, some of you prefer to look at a clock face. So if you were to look at a clock face, and we were to see that we started at 2:10, and pretty much they're going to be almost right there at the right spot, and I'm going to go forward 1 hour. So my 1 hour would take me from the 2 to the 3. Should use that this different color. So 1 hour would take me from the 2 to the 3. And then the 45 minutes, I would have to go around by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And then I would know that, 3, and then looking at all of my times, 45 minutes ahead of 2:10 would be 55, so my answer would be 3:55. Now, let's look at number 2. I'm going to skip a line. You know I like to give myself plenty of space. And I'm going to look at number 2. It says, Ted and Mary walked the same distance to swimming practice. Ted started walking to swimming practice at 10:45 and arrived at 11:05. Mary started walking to swimming practice at 10:25 and arrived at 11 o'clock. Who walked faster and by how many minutes? So I've got a 2-part question, who and how many minutes did that person walk faster? So we have a couple of steps that we're going to do to solve. Again, I'm going to use my T-chart. I'm going to start with Ted. So I'm writing Ted right there, so I know this T-chart belongs to Ted's information. and I see that Ted started walking at 10:45, and he arrived at 11:05. This time I know my beginning and ending time. I need to figure out how much time elapsed for Ted. How long did it take him to walk? So from 10:45, I could go to 11 o'clock, and I know easily that from 10:45 to 11 o'clock is 15 minutes. But I need to go to 11:05. My ending times need to match. And so to 11:05, from 11 o'clock to 11:05 is 5 minutes. And now my ending times match. So all I have to do is add my time. 15 plus 5 is 20 minutes. Now that's for Ted. It took Ted 20 minutes to walk to swimming practice. So on my other side, I'm going to write for Mary. Now, Mary started walking to swimming practice at 10:25, and she arrived at 11 o'clock. And so I'm going to do the same procedure. So from 10:25, I'm going to break it apart so I don't make any silly mistakes. From 10:25, I'm going to go to 10:30 because I like being at that half-hour time frame. That's 5 minutes. And then I know from 10:30 to 11 o'clock is 30 minutes. And I've got to my matching end times. So all I have to do is add my minutes. 5 plus 30 is 35 minutes. Now, we are not finished. But we have solved for the first part to be able to solve for the second part. So it took Ted 20 minutes. It took Mary 35 minutes. Now, the question is saying who walked faster? Well, the one that walked faster is the one that took less time to get there because they walked faster, and that's how it was less. So when I look, the first thing I can see is that Ted walked faster, but I got to figure out how many minutes. So what will I do? That's right. I am going to subtract 35 minus 20. I'll just come right over here. 35 minus 20. 5 minus 0 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I know that Ted walked faster by 15 minutes. So when I look at that question, making sure who Ted walked faster by 15 minutes. Had to subtract to figure out what the difference in time was. Let's go to number 3. Again, skipping a line to make sure I have plenty of space. Number 3 says, Mrs. Jones got up this morning at 6:15 a.m. She spent 30 minutes exercising, 35 minutes getting ready for work, and 15 minutes driving to work. What time did she arrive at work? Well, she did a lot of things as she started at 6:15. So I know her start time was 6:15. And there's a couple of different ways we could solve. One of the ways you could solve is to go ahead and add together 30, 35, 15 to get one lump sum to go forward. Another way you could solve would be to add each of those increments at one time until you finish all of the increments. So I'm going to add 30 minutes plus 35 plus 15. Here's my minutes total, 30, 35, and 15. So I'm going to see how many minutes total that is. So 5 plus 5 is 10, and 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, and 7 plus 1 is 8. Now, that's 80 minutes. Now, we can think, I know that I could go forward an hour, and that would be a lot quicker. So let me think, how many minutes are in an hour? But it's 80, it's 60 minutes. So if we have 80 minus 60 for 1 hour, we have 1 hour and 20 minutes. That's the time that I have to go forward. So I would look and I'd say 1, because this is the part I don't know. 1 hour would make it 7:15. And then I have to go forward 20 minutes. So if I go forward 15 minutes, that would make it 7:30. And then I know I would need 5 more minutes, which would make it 7:35. And again, I'm going to check to make sure my time is correct. 15 plus 5 is 20 minutes, and that does match here. Here's my hour that matches here. So what is my ending time? What time did she make it to work? It was at 7:35. 7:35 is the time she got to work. Now there's multiple ways that we could have solved that one, but that was one way. Okay, I'm going to turn my paper over and label number 4. Number 4 says, Sam played soccer for 35 minutes yesterday and 75 minutes today. How many more minutes did he play soccer today than yesterday? So what will I be doing? Here, I'm simply going to figure out what equation I could use to be able to solve. So I look here, he got 35 minutes yesterday, 75 minutes today. How many more? How many more tells me I'm going to be subtracting. So I would say 75 minus 35 equals my answer. Okay, well I'm going to stack and solve. So 75 minus 35. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. So how many more minutes did he play soccer today than yesterday? The answer is 40 more minutes. Now, I guess we could be writing our answer on here each time. And maybe I'll go ahead and start writing this one is 40 more minutes. And if we have time at the end of the video, I'll go back and fill in the others. So now on number 5. The clock says 10:10. What time will it be in 5 hours and 25 minutes? Well, it says 10:10. And the part I don't know is the ending time, but I do know that it's 5 hours and 25 minutes. So I'm going to start with my hours. I've got to go 5 hours forward. Now I can do it in chunks of time, like 2 hours. I know from 10 to 12 is 2 hours, so I'm going to start with that. So 10 would be 2 hours. And now I can chunk together the next large set, or I could do it by individuals. If I did individuals, 10 would be another hour, and then 10 would be another hour. That's 2, 3, 4, but I'm not at 5 yet. And 10 would be another hour. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I do have my 5 hours. Now I have to do my minutes, because it says to go forward 25 minutes. So I'm going to go forward to 3:30. And so I know that from 3:10 to 3:30 is 20 minutes. And I need 25 minutes, so I've got to go forward 5 more minutes, which would be 3:35. Let's check to make sure. 20 plus 5 is 25 minutes. So my answer would be 3:35. 3:35. All right, number 6. Remember, if I'm going too fast, feel free to stop the video and go back for the answer again. Alex practices piano 62 minutes on Monday. He practices piano 45 minutes on Tuesday. Write an equation that shows how to find how many minutes he practiced piano for the 2 days combined. 2 days combined tells me I'm adding. So my equation, because it tells me to write an equation, would be, let's see, there's 62 minutes on Monday plus 45 minutes on Tuesday would equal box. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve 62 plus 45. 2 plus 5 is 7. 6 plus 4 is 10. His answer is, when we ask how many minutes, 107 minutes. How many minutes? Now, just be aware, it does say minutes, but when you're doing a test, always remember, if it's asking for hours and minutes, you would need to change the 107 minutes into hours and minutes. But it just says minutes. I think we're good, so it would be 107 minutes. And it did ask us to write the equation, so it would be 62 plus 45 equals 107 minutes. Would it be okay if they wrote, or you wrote 45 plus 62? Absolutely, because of the commutative property of addition, you can switch the order of those add-ins and your sum will still be the same. Now let's look at number 7. Terry and Sheila are checking students' iReady minutes. Sheila starts checking at 8:20 a.m. and stops checking after 35 minutes. Terry starts checking iReady minutes when Sheila finishes, and she continues until 10:10 a.m. How many minutes did Terry check iReady minutes? So they're wanting the answer for how many minutes Terry checked iReady minutes, but we can't solve for that until we start with Sheila's iReady minute time. So we're going to start with, I'm going to title my T-chart. There's Sheila right here, and I'm going to say Sheila started at 8:20 a.m. All right, so Sheila stopped checking after 35 minutes. So I have to add 35 minutes to the 8:20. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 8:30, and I know from 8:20 to 8:30 is 10 minutes. And now I know I've got to go to 35 minutes total. So I have, let's see, 35 minus 10, 25 minutes more I need to go forward. So if I go forward 25 minutes, I end up at 8:55. So Sheila stopped checking iReady minutes at 8:55. Now, why is this important? This 8:55? Because if we remember, what time did Terry start checking iReady minutes? Well, it was when Sheila finished. So I had to figure out when Sheila finished to be able to determine Terry's. So we're going to write Terry over here. And Terry started at 8:55. I know her start time now, which I did not know before. I also know her ending time because it says, and she continues until 10:10. 10:10. Now I have to figure how many minutes did Terry check iReady minutes. So from 8:55, I'm going to take it up only 5 minutes to begin with so I can get right at that 9 o'clock. So I'm going to say 9 o'clock, and that's 5 minutes. And now I know I have to go to 10:10, so I'm going to go forward 1 hour to 10 o'clock. That makes it 1 hour. And I need to go forward to 10:10, so 10:10 from 10 o'clock would be 10 minutes. Now, you'll notice I could have started with that hour first and then added my 5 minutes. Would have made a little more sense, but since I went this direction, I still need to pull together and add my minutes. 10 minutes plus 5 minutes is 15 minutes, and my 1 hour is still there. So how long did Terry check iReady minutes? She checked for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to come over here and how many minutes did Terry check iReady? So it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 says, Mrs. Cornea left for work at 6:40 a.m. She arrived at 55 minutes later. What time did she arrive at work? So she left at 6:40 a.m. I do not know what time she arrived. That's what I'm solving for. So let's look to see what we're going to do. 55 minutes is what I'm looking for. I got to go forward 55 minutes. Well, if I'm at 6:40, I know that to go to 7 o'clock would be 20 minutes. And to go forward to 7:30 would be 30 minutes. So far, I've got 30, 40, 50 minutes. I have to go forward 5 more minutes. So 7:35 would be 5 more minutes. So then I would add all of those together. So 20 plus 30 plus 5 is 5 in the ones column. 2 plus 3 is 5. That is correct. It's 55 minutes. So the time she arrived at work was 7:35. So I'm going to come over here and write my 7:35. Number 9. I think I moved my camera. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Number 9. The birthday parade starts at 3:15 p.m. It must end by 6 o'clock p.m. How long can the parade last? So, number 9. It starts at 3:15 and it must end by 6 o'clock. So I know my end time. And the question says, how long can the birthday parade last? So I'm going to go forward from 3:15 to 4:15. That's 1 hour. 4:15 to 5:15 is another hour. Now, can I go to 6:15? Another full hour? Nope, it would be past our ending time. Now I have to switch to minutes. So, from 5:15 to 5:30, I like to go in those quarter and half hours. That's 15 minutes. And then, from 5:30 to 6 o'clock would be 30 minutes. Now, all I have to do is add my times together. So I have 2 hours, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And if I add together my minutes, I have 15 plus 30 is 45 minutes. So my answer here is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I'm going to come over here and write my 2 hours, 45 minutes. Now for the final question, it starts with Daniel. Daniel had 4 hours to finish the laundry. He worked on laundry for 1 hour and 10 minutes. How much time does he have left to complete the laundry? All right, so he's got 4 hours, but he says he worked on laundry for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Well, how are we going to solve for this one? There's a number of different ways that we could solve. I'm going to show you this way first. If he has 4 hours, and I know he's already used 1 hour and 10 minutes, I could make my 4 hours into 4 hours would be the same thing as 3 hours. And how many minutes? How many minutes is in an hour? It's 60 minutes. So I could change that 4 hours to 3 hours, 60 minutes. Now, I know that he's already used 1 hour and 10 minutes. So watch this. So I can subtract 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to be subtracting 1 hour from 3, so 3 minus 1 is 2 hours. And then I'm going to subtract 60 minus 10. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 1 is 5. So Daniel has 2 hours and 50 minutes left to finish the laundry. 2 hours, 50 minutes. Now, I'm going to go back up to the top and go ahead and write my answers in from the first 3 that I didn't write the answer on the sheet. So the first one was, what time is it? 1 hour and 45 minutes after 2:10. So my answer was 3:55. And who walked faster and by how many minutes? So number 2 was Ted walked faster. By 15 minutes. And number 3 was how many more minutes? Oh, excuse me. Number 3, what time did she arrive at work? I apologize. She arrived at 7:35. Now, that was a lot of information, and there are more than one way to solve. You could always use a clock if that works better than the T-chart. You could also use your number line to solve many of these problems. Now tonight, you will not have any math homework because tomorrow you will have your topic 14 test on time. So if you have any questions, something doesn't make sense, please let me know and I'll be happy to help you with it. Y'all have a great day.